So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So this is my extra tier list of March 2024 for you who are my YouTube members who support me a bit extra. And this month we're looking at support recruits, which was requested by you guys in a vote who are tier 2 members or above. And yeah, basically decided to divide this into units who are inclusive and exclusive. And I hope the wording makes sense. Inclusive means the support can be put on a lot of different characters. It's more class-based or color-based support or a combination of that. While the exclusive units are the opposite of inclusive, like they can only be used by specific units. But yeah, it's not the best solution because we have support like the Barter, for example, can literally be put on every straw hat. So overall, that's a ton of units in the game. While a unit like the cat and dog technically are inclusive, but in reality can maybe be put on only 10 units, like 3-4 of them actually usable. So yeah, no way of doing things is perfect, but I think overall this gives the most fair view of things. So yeah, we don't really need to talk about the bottom there. The Orlambus, Dagama, Makino. Like Makino is absolutely the worst. Could have made an own tier for her. The other two, like they have a support that is niche and can be put on units, but I've never found a reason to use it. And even if a reason popped up sometime, I'd probably forget about it. Unless it was like a Grandma Yacht or something, but that would be something. After that, it's all pretty decent units, no matter how you slice it. As for the OK effects, first we have Straussen, can only be put on Big Mom. Gives you an extra heal. This has turned out to be clutch in some situations. Healing supports are rare, but healing supports can also be found on a lot of non-support rare recruit units. Aven, also basically just Big Mom, can give a color affinity, and yeah, I don't feel like it ever ends up seeing use. It's not that great anymore. Then we have Moda, who I regret doing 10 multis for. Like, sure, you can remove 1 turn of paralysis. Technically, it's quite a few units who can do it, but still not that many units. And yeah, I've still not found any reason to use her. And like, even if I find a reason, like, the effect is so small, so I probably do everything I could to not use her to keep the team more accessible. After this, it's all good effects, like nothing to complain about. They are definitely support I use from time to time. First, we have Toko, which can be put on. Thinking about it, Toko is inclusive, isn't she? It's a slasher based. I'm pretty sure of that, so we're going to move her up. So we get to her later. Like, it's still a good effect, but can be used by a bit more units. Sabado, only Luffy and Ace extra stats. It's nice. Then we have the Ace Jobbers. Can remove Threshold and Bind, final stage. And one of those supports is easy to forget, but it's actually good. Like, arguably a great effect. The only reason I put them here is because I've legit not really used them since release, but in theory should be higher. And yeah, if I follow my rules, I should move them up. Like, I changed the rules a bit midway because technically these guys cannot be put on many units. It is basically strength shooters who change orbs. But in technically, there's no limitations. They can be put on as many strength shooters who do that at their release. So, yeah. And yeah, they do an orb lock and give you an attack boost. So they are pretty good. Tama, probably one of the most overrated support units. Removes a bit of paralysis. Was it Threshold though? As well? I'm not sure anymore. And then a bit of an attack boost to conditionals, but like, anytime you want to buff the conditionals, you probably already use a unit like Nami or Super Tensor who already does that. So even if we got some good Super Ten now that doesn't do it, like Soro Sanji, so she can be pretty good on a team like that. The next one, that Whitebeard Jobber, I don't remember the name, Squad, something like that. Yeah, he's not that great either, since the unit has to be captain, you have to do a damage dealing special, I think, and you apply 10 turns of the spear, so this is basically just built to be good with Blackbeard versus Whitebeard, and sure, he's great on that unit, but in any other scenario you won't use him, but of course with that unit he's amazing. Conies, pretty good, can remove 1 turn of death up, quite a few units like that nowadays. I want to say Burgess, but that's obviously not his name. Every time I try to remember this guy's name, Iceberg. Every time I remember the name, I just think Burgess, really dumb. But yeah, Iceberg, cool, can only be put on Frankie, but he does some unique stuff. Main one being resist special reavers in certain situations. And that is really useful. And I've made good use of this in Grand Voyage Luffy 2, for example. Wanda, free to play before, now support rare recruit. Cannot be put on Mandy, but it's cool. One of the few ways to use support to change block orbs, even if it's not reliable. White Bay, bind, remove barrier, easier perfects, but just a few units and just 1 turn of bind, so not the strongest effect. Queen, also pretty overrated. Very few units, have to change orbs, removes just 1 turn of bind. Most people use it just for the extra damage with applying resistance for all colors, which is cool, but it's just 10%, so yeah, not the greatest effect. Let's speedrun the upper here, Toko. 1 turn the spear and threshold, so it's cool, you can put it on many, but actually effect is not the strongest. Chopper, very cool, can be put on a lot of units and give a small heal and a small color affinity, so you end up using it a lot, but as said, not the strongest effect. Moria Shutemaru, very similar, can work like Sabo, but you can put them on a lot of units. Moria is int driven, Shutemaru is strength powerhouse, so yeah, they do see play when the situation arises, basically. Then we have Mr. 4 here. I also think you have to change orbs and you can get a color affinity. But yeah, in practice, this is very hard to make use of. You have to be like a quick driven, I think it is. And then we have the cat and dog, which is pretty cool. You have to be quick and slasher and striker, so incredibly limited. But on the few units the effect is pretty good. But the weird thing is that it's not final stage, it's stage 3. Sometimes that can be pretty clutch, but most of the time it will be better if it was final stage. And sure, you remove 1 turn of barrier, 3 turns para, get some extra damage for the final unit hitting, but yeah, it's not the strongest effect. Moving on, we have some of the great effects. I've talked a lot about Barto, so basically lets you survive any hit, unless the enemy has a death hit that ignores defensive effects, which is usually just the death hit when you try to stall for too long or something like that. Caesar, very cool, can... Sorry about that. Can remove a bit of bind. Apply a poison conditional and use the poisons to bypass resilience, very useful. Carrot, also a stage 3 support, but you remove some special bind for the crew. And you also get -2 CDs, so that CD reducing support always useful. Misterms, probably one of the most underrated supports. I always hear people say like, oh, he only removes paralysis for yourself, he's not that great, but that's kind of missing the point. Like, the main reason you use Mistoms is 2 reasons. Either you have a potential -3 CD if you get Parad, or special reverse. And the other effect, of course, is the 75% damage reduction, which is also really good. Koshiro, still good, only sorrow, but effort removal chain is fine. Brook, really hard to use, but the effect is pretty decent, and you can remove 3 turns of attack down. Also pretty hard to make use of this Big Momsa, don't remember the name right now. But if you do make use of it, you have potential recovery orbs, remove def up. I think it's one more effect, a bit of the spear, I think. Sengoku only on law, but you get a nice chain boost and you have a potential full board orb manip, which is very unique on a support. Vivi is used all of the time, extra damage with resistance, and remove 2 turns of threshold, which is also often becomes really crucial on teams for stuff like Super Boss. Tsuru, one of the OGs, still really good. Sengoku and Garp and something else, I think. When you use the special, 3 turns out of turn damage to bypass resilience, and being 3 turns is very nice. Not many supports like this. Ace, Luffy, only I think, maybe Sabo, but I think it's just Luffy. Maybe Marco or something. I need to double check, but let's just say Luffy. But def up, Rainbow Shield, remove 2 turns of that, very useful. Finally, Mr. Tree, one of the goats, -2 CD for like 25% of all units in the game, probably more than that, incredibly useful. Robin, technically inclusive, but in reality there's not many quick cerebrals that remove Bind of Despair, but if they do, whoa, this is like getting an extra special. Remove 2 turns more of each, you get like a 30% heal and a big damage reduction. Amazing support when it can be used. And then we have the new Bao Wang. I was a bit unsure where to put her, but the main reason I put her up here is because 1, she can be used on so many new units. 2, units that usually can't remove Bind Paralysis that she can. And 2, she has a unique requirement to use the support. You have to get Orb Manipped. So this means you can use this support to remove Bind and Paralysis on stages where you usually wouldn't be able to proc a support, which can be really cool. Finally, let's end with the top 5 supports. Let's go up, and yeah, maybe you guys thought I forgot about them, but I just rated them higher. And yeah, Brule, what to say? Well, I can say before moving on that for Amazing, I put supports that literally have effects that nobody else has, that can see use, can be really clutch to use in some scenarios. But Brule, only support, well, only good support. There's stuff like Zephyr and such, but that can just shoot the block corps, for example. But yeah, Brule, change block corps of everyone final stage, also -2 CD, also a bit of a heal, amazing support, and can be put on some good units. The other support Carrot, remove 2 turns of def up when hitting a perfect. Great utility that can be used on a lot of stages and set up for some unique cheese as well. Sabo, final stage support, you can always reliably proc this final stage, which is sometimes bad, but it's very unique. We don't have many like this. Great effect too, removing 2 turns of def up, 2 turns to spear, and getting easier perfects. And sometimes you just use this for easier perfects. We have the Momo as well. Many might be surprised to see it, but when thinking about it, like removing 2 turns of attack down, very clutch. And he does his final stage guaranteed, so as said, even if you might proc the support earlier, you are guaranteed to save this for final stage. And he also can add some good damage by adding a unique chain buff. So most of the time you can put him in just to get a bit extra damage, which is very useful as well. And then on top, and honestly I probably rate him as number 1 too, if this was a number tier list or something, but it's Mihawk. Can be put on any int, slasher, or int free spirit. Amazingly useful. You can put this unit on so many different units. And the effect is great too. You have end of turn damage for 1 turn final stage. Just ignore resilience. Unless there's a barrier, of course. You get set defense to 0. I don't think I need to say why that's good. And you also get -2 CD, and sometimes you just use this for the -2 CD to counter special reverse or to get the special ready faster than usual. So yeah, go to support. But as you see, the average quality of support is pretty good. The main issue is the fact that most of them are pretty limited in scope just for a few units, which is why they feel weaker than they actually are. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.